14119. Can we use South Korea's semiconductor tax revenue now? 1_2. Question. Master. Based on the semiconductor technologies accumulated by companies over decades, South Korea now stands at the center of the global industry. Over the next few years, massive profits for companies and a large scale of additional tax revenue for the state are expected. This money is not the achievement of a single administration, nor is it a stable, recurring tax collected every year. Rather, it is the fruit of the effort and sacrifice of the entire South Korean public who have lived through blood, sweat, and tears, and I believe it is a national opportunity that will not easily come again. The current administration has already stated its plan to create a future response fund using the increasing tax revenue from the semiconductor boom to use for growth engines, youth support, regional development, and addressing inequality. If most of the tax revenue generated from this temporary semiconductor boom is used for immediate cash support or repetitive welfare expenditures, it might temporarily ease the public's hardships, but once the semiconductor market downturns, the money will disappear, leaving behind only the expenditures and welfare demands that must continue to be borne. Therefore, if we are not to squander this financial resource on the consumption of a single era, but instead make it the seed money to sustain South Korea and human society for 100 years, what principle must be established first, and who is the subject responsible for it?
If we keep collecting tax revenue and spending it right away, there is no future development. Collecting money through taxes right now is something we must be extremely cautious about. If companies hold on to it, it is company money, and are we going to try to prevent it from becoming company money by collecting it as taxes and handing it out to those in need under the name of welfare for the people, creating a futureless society through methods like this? That is doing a terrible thing. South Korea is just beginning. Now that it is beginning and some income is coming in to a certain extent, the time to truly invest for future development is arriving right now. Therefore, to lead this kind of economy, generations 1, 2, and 3 have made efforts, and we are now flourishing. It is just the beginning. It is just the beginning, but if we keep trying to snatch it all away whenever companies earn a lot, cutting-edge industries like high-tech and future-oriented sectors require enormous investments. So, if we just collect it all because they earned a bit now, saying let's go buy candy and eat one more chicken and collect everything, the investments that need to be made are astronomical, and we would be wiping that out. That would be a huge disaster. This semiconductor thing has literally just begun, and preparing for what comes next requires planning for several decades, requiring massive investments. Missing this opportunity and having the government constantly interfere, snatch it away, and collect it just because some income came in now, so that they can act benevolent to the people and try to gain popularity, no matter how much they rush into that, South Korea's corporations themselves are the South Korean government. The future is a society led by corporations. If the government interferes too much, this country will ruin. Then, since this topic came up, let's touch a bit on what the government is. The government should support the country's path and make sure things flourish properly. Corporations rise by receiving the strength of the people. Until they rise to a certain extent, the people must work together. To collect it and eat well just because we saw some income, what does this talk about? It talks about communism. The Communist Party, communism, statism. These are the calculations coming from that side. We earned it, so what's wrong with collecting some of what was earned and spending it? It is not earned like that. What is earned now should be put into higher quality investments, and when the economy spins from there, even higher quality investments must be made until when? Until the year 2045. Then, we need to go 15 to 20 years from now, into the 2040s, to enter a normal trajectory. South Korea will start in the 2030s, but until those 2030s, it is a preparation period. From the 2030s onwards, we will grow tremendously, but even then, we must not collect and strip it away. From this point on, companies will handle things on their own. Great figures will emerge to lead companies forward, and business leaders who wisely guide the country are all the leaders of South Korea. Since these people are growing and rising now, they must not fall behind humanity. When moving into the cutting-edge era, South Korea must walk together within the top 1, 2, or 3 in the world. Not 5th or 7th. We are the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of humanity operating and leading this international society together. While establishing this order, it is just beginning, and people who seized control of the government, perhaps fearing they might lose the government next time, collect it all right now just to act benevolent to the people and win votes. Whose idea is that? Let's explain this in a fun way. It's like saying, well, the turkey is fully grown, so rather than having it lay eggs and gathering them one by one, let's just slaughter the turkey and divide it all up among ourselves right now. The reason our liberal democracy develops is because communism cannot develop. Communism is over, and because people keep talking about communism, it might sound a bit strange, but communism and the Communist Party are different. Right now is an era operated by the International Communist Party, and trying to take the logic of this direction since World War II was advocating for communism. What's wrong with communism? It's good. Let's all live well together. How good of an ideology is that? Not about who has a lot of money and who doesn't, but let's all live well together. Why is that bad? It's great, immensely good. However, after luring people in like that, and once the system stabilizes, a ruling party that leads from above emerges. It is partyism now. Communism has vanished from humanity. To understand this a bit more funly, communism is an ideology that gives out rations. It is a system that collects everything through requisition and distributes rations well so that all the people live well together. But until when is a ration system possible? It is possible up to about 40%. So when liberal democracy and communism split and made a fresh start, that was when the first post-war generation laid the foundation. While people praised communism as being too good and followed it, liberal democracy also did that, splitting half the world. Look closely now. Has liberal democracy grown, or has communism grown? Liberal democracy has grown, and under communism, the people have all become slaves. To whom? To the Communist Party. Only party members live to a certain extent. Party members also have lower, middle, and upper classes, broadly speaking. The upper class pockets all the money, the middle class gets a little bit, and the lower class gets just a bit more than people who are starving. It operates in this party system. Therefore, even if people who are rising economically farm or earn money in factories, it all has to go into the party. When it goes into the party, the Guanxi leaders leading from above, whether I should use these words or not, I must be careful. What? They check the master's YouTube. And if you say words that don't quite fit their narrative, you get dragged in for a major scolding. Under the name of censorship, they do that a lot. That kind of current is flowing right now. How much can we overcome this? It won't last long. It won't last long, but by next year, everything we worry about will be resolved. Didn't I clearly say that this year is an inflection point? 2025 and 2026 are inflection points, and it will be resolved in 207? Then from 208, completely from then on, things will genuinely be sorted out. Even if it is difficult for 3 years, let's make an effort. Then what about our Zhongbib family? Let's wait a bit while studying our own shortcomings. While studying, if you are doing well, get along nicely with those around you, and easily endure this time. No matter what kind of mess they make in politics, our people can endure it, to that extent. Even if they make laws, they cannot directly enter our people's lives. For a law to be made, approach society, and become operational, it takes at least 5 to 6 or 7 years before it touches the public skin. Do not worry too much just because a law was made wrongly. Later, all the wrong laws will be gathered and completely reorganized anew. That is how South Korea comes to possess leadership over humanity. And who is failing to lead right now? Because politicians haven't emerged yet. Oh, I'll get scolded for saying this again. Not just in South Korea, but politicians have not yet emerged in humanity. So the current government is just trying things out. Setting up a country, creating a government, structuring it this way and that, and trying it out. This is all to draw out whether this is right or wrong, accurate, and free of contradictions. What happens if there are contradictions while doing this? From now on, a correct politics must be framed, a correct government must be formed. There is a period for doing this. Right now is when an inflection point means contradictions are all crawling out. No matter if you do it this way, contradictions emerge. Do it that way, contradictions emerge. Let's say, for example, that the current government does poorly. It got stripped away. Who are you going to give it to? Is there a government prepared and waiting? There is no one to operate it correctly. For example, if we talk about parties, the Democratic Party is doing whatever they want right now because they seized power, acting impartially, wait, since they seize power like this, the public is clamoring and stripped that power away. Then if we give it to the People Power Party, will they operate it well? Not a chance. That is how things are right now. Then a theory must emerge that can present something new to our people. When we say to the people, let's create it together in a way that makes sense, the people will flock to it. Politics that makes sense to us, that makes sense to the public, is true politics. Politics that cannot make sense to the public is not politics. Simply because power was given to us and driving the public forward according to our own power is not politics. It must be done in a way the public understands. That is why we hold elections from time to time, to get approval from the public on what we will do, and those are election pledges. Right now, not a single person in South Korea is making proper pledges. There is nothing the public likes. This is what we call a transitional period. Therefore, an inflection point means that what is happening on this side, if it has all happened and things are not right here, everyone must come out and clean house. After cleaning house, let's lead things correctly from here. From here, let's clean house completely and climb back up. When people hear inflection point, they think we climbed up this far, so because it's an inflection point, let's gather what was done wrong and go back down. That is not it. Our first stage talks about a 30% evolution. Then the second stage talks about growing up to 70%. Then is it 40% to reach the second stage? No, it's 30%. 30%, 30%, but during the middle 10%, we spent that 10% fighting wars and framing ideologies, killing people, and claiming our way is right. While all that was happening, 10% was a buffer time, and once it hit exactly 40%, what started from then on was the growth period. There is no growth as fast as ours in human history. Look at South Korea, the poorest country in the world. Poorer than Africa. Creating the poorest country in the world and starting, why did we have to do it that way? When we started, North Korea was well off. Well off for that era. Why? Because when the Korean War broke out, they invaded South Korea down here and smashed everything. But since we didn't counter-invade the North, their facilities and everything remained intact. Nuclear power plants and whatever else, Japan was doing something to the North and South, colonizing. It's not colonization, but that needs to be unraveled later. It wasn't colonization. Japan was in charge of creating an environment for the world to wake up South Korea. It was waking up the sleeping lion. That is 36 years. Including the period right before, 37 years is correct. Why? Because of the 3-2-7 law. It is a wondrous law. Because they had to wake up the sleeping lion. They had to drag it back out to the world. Our Korean peninsula was an ethnicity that had not been revealed to the world. When we operated, starting from Gojoseon for thousands of years, it wasn't that we weren't active. We were active, but where did we operate? On the plains of China, on the plains currently named China. You need to know this a bit to understand. What do we talk about when we talk about activity? The romance of the Three Kingdoms, our Joseon romance of the Three Kingdoms. How was that operated? It was largely operated into 3 states, Goguryeo, Silla, and Beech. In South Korea today, we have Goryeo, Beech, and Silla. This is a time when we have stepped back to rest. When we were operating, it was on the plains of China. Manchuria and all that side is entirely Goguryeo, when Gojoseon culture arose. Toward the west of that and down was Beech, and attached to the east this way was Silla. All this history will be revealed from now on, but people try immensely to hide it. Why? If this is revealed, when international readjustment happens later, South Korea is bigger than China. They try to eliminate that. To keep you locked in the peninsula so you can't come out. Why? Because if we start moving, we manage all of humanity. Those are called the heavenly grandchildren, Chonsun. So there was a time for such activity, and then a time to come right in, wrap things up, and preserve the seeds of the heavenly grandchildren. That is what was done. I don't know how much I'll get scolded again just for saying this. Why? South Korean scholars also received support while they were there, and they just followed whatever those sides wanted. They shrink explanations and keep talking. Why? Where does this desire come from? China, Japan, Europe, and places like that hope for it to be that way. All our history will come out now. Why? Because our quality has grown, and as international society looks toward us, whatever was hidden crawls right out. Our ethnic history is a great ethnicity. So after wrapping up this transitional period, the era where the true heavenly grandchildren rise will come no matter how much you try to block it. To make it rise, we must also achieve North-South reunification, join hands, and from now on, the heavenly grandchildren will rise from the peninsula and begin to holding up a lamp to illuminate humanity. The people born on this land, carrying the historical mission of the nation, are the ones doing this work. We must set the order right. This order has not yet appeared. Weren't the environments given for it to appear? The environments were all given, but people just don't research with them, don't find a new paradigm, and don't look. It's not that they couldn't find it, they didn't look because no one led them. By organizing these things step by step, we will establish a right country from now on, and humanity is bound to follow by looking at this country as a model. Only by setting South Korea right can humanity stand right. Saying it like this would make it too long, so I keep shrinking it. Let's return to the main point.